Welcome back to another episode of ARC's TravelConnect Virtual Series. I'm your host, Randy Spoon, Manager of Content and Media Relations at ARC. Today, I'm joined by Ella Schreiber, Vice President of Fintech and Data at Hopper. Ella, welcome.
Hi, Randy. Thank you for having me today.
Yeah, it's great to have you. So before we begin, I just want to thank everyone for watching this episode and for following along with the entire ARC TravelConnect Virtual Series. To view more episodes of the virtual series, you can check out arctravelconnect.com/episodes. And be sure to engage with us online when you're watching the video using hashtag ARCTravelConnect. With that now out of the way, Ella, Hopper is no stranger to the ARC Travel Connect series. We've featured in the past on several panel discussions Dakota Smith, who's now, I know, your Chief Strategy Officer. But obviously, it's been an interesting past year and a half since the last time we had an in-person Travel Connect. And one of the reasons, obviously, that we're having a virtual series is because of the impact that 2020 had on the travel industry and being able to meet in person. So my first question that I wanted to ask you was, what was Hopper's experience navigating the challenges of 2020, and what was your experience as the Vice President of FinTech and Data?
Yeah, it was quite a year for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah, I think that it's accurate to say that almost overnight, all what we knew about the travel environment changed on us. And
Mm-hmm.
it was both from the supplier and from the consumer side. So, in addition to a steep drop in demand from like customers stop traveling the world, those who did travel behaved totally differently.
Mm-hmm.
So users started to plan their trip closer to their departure or check-in time. They were looking for different trips. Most of the people were traveling to more familiar places as well as like longer stays. But most interestingly, users looked for flexibility, and and users always look for flexibility in their travel planning as well as while they're traveling, but the pandemic brought that to light. And
Mm-hmm.
we were well positioned because we already had our fintech products that address exactly that need of like how to add peace of mind and flexibility to your travel planning.
Mm-hmm.
The challenge was that all our risk-based pricing and offering were based on the environment that we knew before. And as I mentioned, the environment really changed. So thanks to our very adaptive technology and our ability to read the new environment quickly, learn from new signals, understand the new behaviors, look at new travel trends, and correct our risk-based pricing and our offering, we were able, during all that time of the pandemic, to continue to offer our fintech portfolio in scale in a way that
Mm-hmm.
drives customer delight as well as healthy unit economics. So this has really paid off. Like fintech led the recovery of the entire app from the pandemic. We actually closed 2020 with 100% year over year positive growth, and we're
Hmm.
already on track to 3x growth in 2021.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned the average time between ticket bought and then when the flight actually takes off. Working with our data team, we saw the volatility like you guys obviously saw. At one point early on in 2020, it shot up to about 80 days. Then it went all the way down to 20 days and has since kind of
Yes.
normalized around that 44-day average time to flight. Were there any other trends that you guys saw during 2020 amidst all the cancellations and volatility?
Yeah, I mean, cancellation spiked, prices really dropped, right? If the average order value, a domestic average order value was around $450 during the pandemic, it was more like 200. And at the peak of the pandemic, it was even lower than that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Airlines clearly changed their inventory and the routes that were flying, many different trends, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great. So you mentioned the fintech business of Hopper, and I know you joined back in 2016 when there seemed to be a shift, sort of in the industry, not only at Hopper but also in the whole travel industry, to put more emphasis on data and using data to help consumers and help customers. Can you talk about your experience joining Hopper at that time and really how you've seen the industry value or put more value on data?
So Hopper was built on the premise of empowering travelers with when to buy and when to take their trip in order to score the best deal for them and save on their trip. And it was via our core data technology and data assets, as well as like us deeply understanding the consumer behavior, that we were able to provide that travel advice that clearly drove a lot of installs and customers to the Opera app originally. But then we realized that this is not enough. And it was mainly not enough because what we were missing is the customer intent. Like sometimes we tell you that it's a good time to buy or not good time to buy, but you have your own set of considerations if you're actually ready to buy or not, regardless of our travel advice. And this led us to build a complementary set of features to the price prediction that add peace of mind and allows you to plan your trip risk-free. And this is the fintech products. So in the last 2 years, we launched 10 different products, found product market fit, and today those fintech products are driving 70% of the entire Hopper business revenue.
Gotcha. And I know Hopper's main business has always been sort of that B2C movement. Has there been any movement within the company to capture more B2B, or is it still primarily B2C?
Absolutely. So one of the main learnings, if I keep saying that there's this like super interesting value prop in our fintech portfolio in our app that basically drives this like higher conversion, high monetization, customer delight, there's a even more enormous product channel fit of offering fintech and our travel infrastructure everywhere else. So when you look at that high margin, high growth of the fintech portfolio in our business, we realize that we're moving from being a travel company to being a fintech and data company that specializes in travel. And if you think about ourselves this way, it highly suggest that we should offer all what we're really good at, which is like our tech infrastructure, our agency content, and our financial services everywhere else. And this is what we call Hopper Cloud, which is the future of Hopper, basically. And this means that we are going to offer all our fintech portfolio and travel content on other platforms. So you can think about airlines, you can think about rewards and loyalty programs, about corporate travel, and like meta searches, OTAs. It's relevant for everyone, right? And if we would actually deliver the fintech unit economics on all this volume, we are looking at a new travel category that never existed before that can be valued at something like 80 billion.
Wow. Yeah, no, it sounds like there was definitely a significant shift, a significant pivot in everything that Hopper does. And, given your point there that you said, Hopper could now be considered, at least in your mind, a data and fintech company that specializes in travel. Are there any specific, products or something within that new fintech suite of offerings that, maybe you're particularly proud of, or something you've been working on that, you feel is going to be some type of game changer or have a profound effect in the industry?
So we today offer 10 different fintech products, but in our leading portfolio, there are three. Price freeze, disruption protection, and a flexible plan. So price freeze, as simple as it sounds, let you hold the price that you see today and come back later in a more convenient time in the future or after you finalize your funding and book that price. If the price would go up, we would pay the difference. If the price goes down, you would pay the lower price. So it's a very good, compelling planning tool for a lower intent customers to finalize their trip planning with peace of mind. What's important to note here is that we take all the financial risk on us, and the user would always buy the published price. So we don't do churning. If anything, because the user would actually buy later, the published price was usually increased by around like 11%, and Hopper would pay this difference, of course, but it makes sense for us to do that because we have a much higher upside in the form of like the monetization from the price risk cost as well as the increase in conversion. The second one is disruption protection. Disruption protection basically protect your trip if you missed your connection, if your flight got canceled or delayed. We let you automatically and instantly book a different flight in our app. Or if you don't like that resolution, we would just make your original flight free. So we cover the difference. Then flexible plan would make your trip flexible. No question asked. For any reason, you add that to your trip, make your trip refundable and cancelable. And from that point, at any given time, you can go back to the app, change your dates, change your destination. Again, totally automated. And this is, of course, was very, very important and popular feature during the pandemic. What's interesting here that I think worth mentioning is that the secret sauce of this, or what those products are really good at, is to monetize the planning and not the booking. I think that many times in our industry, what's happening is that users are really focused, not users, companies are very focused on upsell and cross-sell at the time of booking. What we are doing, we are adding value at the planning. And there's something very, very powerful if you can unlock the monetization of the planning and make your planners into customers already. And this would have a compounding effect, because if someone froze a price because they were lower intent and they had to finalize their trip plans, they are more likely to also book with us the subsequent transaction, the actual trip. So you can see how powerful that gets in terms of conversion, in terms of share of wallet, and in terms of retention and customer delight.
Interesting. Yeah, no, it sounds like you said, having those features, particularly around this time when the pandemic was affecting so many flights and causing so many disruptions and schedule changes, that's really beneficial for consumers to have that flexibility and have those options.
Yes, we actually saw that attach on our fintech products in the last 18 months, it increased to 60%. So today, 60% of our customers would actually attach to at least one fintech product, and the average products would be 1.6. So that means that 60% would attach to an average of 1.6 products.
So, given the talk about Hopper's fintech offerings there and your products, what are some key features that you'd maybe want to highlight that customers are getting with Hopper's fintech products and with Hopper Cloud?
Yeah, so with Hopper Cloud, we basically offer all our travel infrastructure, all the travel agency content, and all the financial services to everyone out there. And you can think about it as a plug and play solution, and that is that we basically adjust to your needs. So if, for example, you are not a travel company and you want to become a travel company or have a travel portal, we can operate it for you. If you're already a travel company and you want to extend your selection, we can offer you cars or hotels or flights. And again, we have there the best prices, the best selection, and the best service. So you get a world-class travel agency integration. On top of that, we offer our fintech products that actually increase conversion, monetization, and customer delight on your platform. So if, for example, you're an airline, you can offer our fintech portfolio on your own website and platforms. And this is very powerful, right? Because basically we will turn your lookers to bookers. We would increase the share of wallet by an average of $55. And we would also drive new retention and new reasons for customers to get back to your product. And again, a world-class service, as I mentioned, with all our automation and instant resolution to all the protection products. So the way we actually do that is we offer a super lightweight integration to all of this via API or via a white label site. We do all the pricing and all the hard development work, and you enjoy a rev share with us. So you can see revenue from day zero. We also take all the risk on us, so we keep your books clean. And what's most important is that we modify everything to your customer. So as I mentioned before, and this is something that also the pandemic brought to light, we build a good technology and framework, and we break the pricing problems into components that allow us to learn on your audience and actually make sure that we give your users the right offering.
Yeah, that's all really interesting and probably comes in handy, particularly in today's environment. I think
Yes.
from a media standpoint, I've seen a lot of coverage of disrupted flights, schedules that are not yet settled, so they get changed around. On a not necessarily on a whim, but rather frequently. And so I think that's probably beneficial for a consumer standpoint to have that type of protection. Were these plans always in the works before 2020 hit, or did you guys see something specific in the marketplace that you thought, hey, this would be a great service to provide to our customers?
Yeah, they were always in the works. I mean, they were not always, but they were in the works before the pandemic hit. We actually
Hmm.
started it 2 years ago,
Hmm.
but in the pandemic, it accelerated. And it brought
Hmm.
to light the importance of those financial services to customers and how powerful they can get when you actually do it right and when you deeply understand your risk-based pricing as well as what you're solving for the customers. And I think that this is what we become subject matter experts in, like really understand the market trends, the signals, which signals are real, which are noise, what customers are looking for, and how to offer it to them in a way that like balance the customer delight and the unit economics. And
Hmm.
I think that in addition to that, what the pandemic did is accelerated the adaptability of our pricing and dynamic pricing work, because when you move to unknown environment and unknown behavioral patterns, it can be a rule-based thing. You
Sure.
have to constantly learn from new observations as well as build a competitive environment that always challenges what you know and try to like think about the problem differently and launch new modeling that might do better. And this is something that really accelerated during the pandemic. Our adaptability to new environments, to new segments, to new customers, to new pricing, to new inventory. This became really, really important thing. And this also empowers Hopper Cloud, right? Because now when we want to move from like the Hopper environment to external environment, like we just announced fundraising F round on the premise of Capital One travel portal that we're going to power. If you think about Capital One travel portal and the segment there, one might ask, this is exactly the opposite set of customers from the Upper app. How are you confident that you would actually drive the same success and the same positive outcome on a totally new user base? And I think that the pandemic proved that our technology and framework can do that.
Hmm. Interesting. So you mentioned Capital One. Is that a play with their corporate business, or is that still focused on, Capital One cardholders?
It's card holders. Yeah, it's
Okay.
loyalty and rewards for card holders.
Okay. Good to know. So as we've discussed, Hopper has gone through significant changes really over the past years, and it's great to hear that in a year where a lot of travel companies and travel related companies suffered and had a lot of challenges, that you guys have really succeeded in and found opportunity to grow and change and sort of evolve with what's needed within the industry. As we look forward, we're seeing recovery. 2021 is showing that people are getting back on flights. The vaccination is rolling out. What are some other opportunities or areas for growth that you see maybe not only within the industry, but within Hopper?
Yeah, so first of all, I believe that we haven't even seen the breadth of all our capabilities yet, because I believe that
Hmm.
when international travel will come in, when the planning window would be like longer, like users would actually start to plan in longer advances, and the prices of the market would start to climb up, which we already see. Our fintech would become more and more important. So I believe that we still have what to learn there. Honestly, I believe that this idea of having this flexibility would continue to be really important.
Mm-hmm. To close out, given that we're both in travel related and travel dominant companies, I wanted to ask you, what have you missed so much about travel over this past year, and do you have any trips coming up?
Yeah, like everyone, I miss travel so much, both business and leisure travel, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say. I actually plan to take advantage of the the remote work culture that we foster now at Hopper, and actually go and work from Greece for a few months from next month. But yeah, I'm so happy to see the recovery trend coming, and I'm sure that everyone more than ever is eager to travel even more after this year where all the borders were shut down. Yeah, very excited to also see what would happen to corporate travel. I think that this would be an interesting segment to follow, and yeah.
Yeah, we've been following the corporate travel segment very closely, and have seen it, not to date keep up with leisure travel and online travel bookings, but it is recovering, and it, like you said, it'll be interesting to see, where it ends up over these next few years as recovery continues to happen. So with that, Ella, I just wanted to thank you again for joining us at the ARC TravelConnect Virtual Series. For everyone watching, thank you again for watching. Be sure to check out this episode and other episodes at arctravelconnect.com/episodes. Ella, thanks again.
Thank you.